Yeah. Again, thank you guys for doing this. This is a very special for coaches and the players alike. And as Ben said, we've been very fortunate to have several years of great success here, and we graduated a very significant senior class, and then even unfortunately a couple of our kids that we were anticipating to come back have moved on. Our young quarterback from last year now lives in North Carolina, and we have another young man on our team that was a returning starter that is no longer at our school. So we have a very small senior class. Both Austin and Jaden are seniors. We only have 10 seniors on our team, but Austin was a returning starter on both sides of the ball, and Jaden has been a 3-year, well, this will be a 3rd-year starter as a safety, and he'll have the great privilege of replacing Gideon Davidson in the backfield this year. So we feel very confident that he will do an admirable job, and we're just thankful to have another chance to compete in a very tough Seminole district.
For you, Frank, how much of an emphasis on this season is, when you have a talent like Gideon Davidson, if the play call may not be right or if something breaks down, he can cover it up. How much more do you guys have to make sure you're shored up, knowing that type of explosive safety valve is there this year?
Yeah, great question, and these guys can attest to the fact that we've addressed that. We've been blessed over 20 years we've won a lot of football games. So there's a lot of games won before we had a Gideon Davidson. And although Gideon's a great player and a lot of our success could be attributed to him, we've won a lot of football games with Jaden Cowart and Austin Tremblay and guys just like them. So our anticipation is that we're going to continue on just with that same expectation. There might have to be a little bit greater attention to detail, just like you said. Gideon might have been able to break a 70-yard run, and he had a 2-play drive. Well, now we may have to put 10-play drives together, and that entails being a little bit crisper, a little bit more attentive to detail, possessing the ball. And so a lot of the precision parts of the game are going to have to be elite this year, and being able to maintain 10 and 12 play drives.
Coach, can you talk about the quarterback you brought in? What's he like as a person? What's he like as an athlete?
Well, we say brought in. His family moved here, and the mom is working here locally. The dad's a salesman that can, I guess, live anywhere, but his family has been doing the LCA online ever since the COVID years, so they've been kind of LCA students before, just have moved here this year. But so he is competing with Coach Chadwell's son. Many of you know Liberty coaches, Coach Chadwell. And, they're battling out right now, and we are very fortunate to feel that we have, 2 quarterbacks that we feel we can win with, actually a third that we think can win us games as well. We're going to maybe do some creative things with him and, kind of wildcat stuff that we did with James Deo last year. But, we have three quarterbacks that we feel really good about.
No doubt that Gideon was good, but everybody's going to say football starts up front. How good do you feel about yourselves up front right now?
Well, to be able to take a 270-pound kid and put him at tight end and not need to use him at guard or tackle kind of gives the indication that, we feel good about our center guards and tackles. Now, that's probably an accurate statement. Austin is a outstanding player and could play any position on the field, really. But we'll see. I think right now we feel that could be a strength for us. But we're still kind of blending together. We have 3 returning starters up there on the line, but some JV kids that are having to step in, and we'll see if they can handle the duties.
Coach, you mentioned obviously the personnel changes, so the expectations may change a little bit, but can you speak to what the past 2 years did for you guys in terms of how you were able to win and what that instilled in terms of confidence for the entire locker room?
Yeah, and maybe the guys can comment on this as well, but, the old adage of taking one game at a time is really the formula for winning any sports activity. To go on a 2-year run as we have, it really does take a lot of focus and concentration to not let outside distractions kind of get you off track. And I think it's a great testament to these guys for being able to do that, not believe all the press clippings and all the things that are said to them and just stay focused on the game ahead. And so that's what we'll continue to do. And we'll trust the process and that good things will happen. But maybe these guys can comment on that as well.
Yeah, I believe like the past 2 years have shown, last year was my first year personally, but the long seasons, just staying locked in, like he said, just believing in yourself, having confidence that, with injuries, bumps and bruises, that you can, persevere, keep your head locked in straight on what your assignment is and what you're doing that specific week, and just have confidence that, you'll be able to advance another week.
Yeah, and just, being here for 2 years, already going through that, being a starter on the defensive side and going 2 years, already winning a state championship, going into my senior year, just taking that, honestly is like that was the past. And, we have a goal set out, and every day it's a one practice at a time, it's one game at a time, it's one play at a time, and that's how we win games, just go and do our things.
For the players, starting with Coward, how important is it that you keep football fun even though you guys have a mission to win every week?
Most important, one of the things for our running backs, in the running back just group and our whole division in the running backs, we one of our main things that we focus on is just have fun. As a running back, you got to understand we're taking hits, we're giving hits, we got to know what we're doing, the plays, all of that. But one of our big things that Coach Zoe, the running backs coach, tells us is just have fun. Go out there and ball out.
Kind of like what he said, I kind of think, in the back of my mind, it's a lot of fun. It's a game, but it's a game. Football, I'm playing with all my friends. I've had a dream of playing high school football my whole life, hearing the stories about Friday nights and all that, and all the fans showing out. And, I just kind of remind myself, it's still a game. I like to have fun on the field.
Jaden, what kind of preparations have you gone through to fill in at that position? I know you have some experience there already at running back, but has anything happened to kind of jumpstart you into that position to be I'm the guy now?
Yeah, just a lot of off-season work, going into ending the last season and knowing that getting as one of my best friends, leaving, going to Clemson, where do I need to step up at? And, going into the off-season, I was like, that's somewhere I need to, that I know I need to step up in that area. So off-season work, just, every single day, just on the field working, in the weight room, gaining weight, doing what I need to be physically fit and physically able to take hits and give hits.
Austin, it's been kind of a whirlwind kind of time for you, I guess, recently with some news that what has the past couple weeks been like for you?
It's amazing. I've committed to Liberty University. That's an amazing, dream of mine to commit to such a prestigious program. But with that, I got to remember that stress is kind of off my shoulders. I got to lock into the season, lock into try and get a three-peat, which would be also amazing.
Austin, what is it about Liberty that made you want to commit there and make that decision quickly in the process?
Right. So Virginia's always kind of been a home to me. I was born in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and that's kind of why I felt the need to come back to Virginia last year and join LCA. I love the home atmosphere about Liberty. I think they're building something special over there. It's always been a dream of mine to play FBS football. And I feel like when they believed in me to give me a scholarship offer, I feel like I needed to take that opportunity and really push myself to the highest limits I could go.
Did you feel like you had a little bit of inside access in terms of how the program operates with Coach Chadwell's son being one of your teammates?
Oh, yeah, yeah, a little bit you could say that. I love Coach Chadwell's son, Jamie. We talk every day. You know, he's an amazing quarterback. Him and Luke are battling it out right now. You know, he doesn't really try to tell me too much, but he does say that he pokes fun at me, saying that he'll boss me around the next 2 years when I'm up there, so that's fun.
Coach, you've had a lot of success in the Seminole District the past few years. Does that play into anything going into 2025 with these guys? Is there extra pressure on them or not really?
I don't know. That kind of question always stumps coaches. They give you the line that, you know, no, there's never any pressure. I mean, there's always pressure with anything. It's all how you look at it and what you put on yourselves. These guys know that, you know, every single day out on the practice field, we try to turn the heat up so it's as close to a Friday night game environment as possible. So I think we're used to dealing with pressure. I think it wouldn't be fun if there wasn't a little bit at stake. The Seminole District specifically, week in and week out, anybody can beat anybody. And, you know, we're always looking for a challenge. And being in this league, you get a challenge every week.
From Austin committing for Coach, from Austin committing to Liberty, obviously, you had two that committed before the start of last season to Clemson.
Right.
That's been seemingly a common theme with a lot of your players where they commit before the start of their senior season. Is that something that's your influence? Is that the nature of players that come to LCA? How does that process come to be where they
Yeah, I think you'll see that across the board in the country now. I mean, the way recruiting is expedited so rapidly. You know, there's a lot of kids that actually graduate mid-year, just like Gideon and Easton did last year, and they ended up going to Clemson mid-year, so they were there for spring ball. I think Austin's going to do that same thing here at Liberty. But then there's others that the recruiting process takes a little bit longer. So it really is, you know, all over the place in terms of how the timetable plays out anymore.
We're past 10 minutes. Everybody good? Thank you, sir.
All right.
And we just talked about doing it, and we just added it. So it's the first time ever in school history when he wears it against Bridgeport, at Bridgeport, our first game. It'll be the first time we've ever broke out a 0 in the whole history of the school. So I thought that was pretty special. All right.
Just open it up, Coach. How are things going for you right now?
All right. Things are great. We just finished our 8th practice. You know, we 2 years ago in 23, we finished 6-5 with a very young group. I think we got beat in the first round playoff at Turner Ashby. We had, I think, 7 to 10 starters that were sophomores, 2 freshmen, and maybe more than that. I think it was a total of 15 freshman, sophomore starters at that point. Last year we were 9-3. 2 losses came to LCA, which ended up winning the state championship, and then we lost to EC Glass in our rival game, which in a game that we made a lot of mistakes. Great thing about it is I got a lot of kids coming back. I feel like that this has been one of the best off seasons I've had since I've been here in 14 years. A lot of part to guys like this on either side of me. A lot of leadership this year. A lot of accountability. And just very excited about the season coming up. Very, very excited. And if the first 8 practices are any indication what kind of year we have, I'm very, very excited about it.
Coach, I mean, Slash is a senior now, right? So you feel like you've been building towards this year with him and this senior class. Do you feel like it's been kind of building towards?
Well, I think it has, and I think you include Zaid, you include Dom Jones, you include David, you include a lot of those guys in that class. Yes, I do. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know how many seniors we had. We did a photo shoot yesterday, and we had 21 seniors. Now, that's including 3 kickers, all right? But we had 21 seniors, so yes, I do think so. I think there's a lot of guys I can sit here and mention, a lot of guys that are part of the senior class that have been special. And, you know, these guys were here as freshmen when we went to the state championship and got beat in 2022. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of all came back around, and we're excited about that, having a bunch of seniors. First time I've had a lot of seniors in about 3 or 4 years.
How different is it to coach a group of underclassmen than as opposed to a group of seniors?
I get a lot more sleep. I'll be honest with you. I mean, these 2 dudes right here along with the rest of my seniors, man, they have been in the system. If you guys have ever been to one of my practices, I know the girl, she came in the other day, and I don't think she knows me real well. I think she thought I was mad. I was just a regular day. But he's been a whole year with us. I'm hard on him, but these are my dudes, right? These are my guys. And this group right here is special to me, always have been, and definitely excited about coaching. But when you got a group like this, it just gives you a little bit more sleep because they take care and they start to police themselves. And they start to coach themselves, and they start to do things the right way. When you got a younger group, you got to worry about every little thing. And don't get me wrong, they were sophomores at one time, and they gave me that. They gave us that. But I think that I think to answer your question, a little bit more sleep and a lot more confidence.
How does playing in a district where the margin for error is slim to none kind of help shape guys to what they've become now? And you guys can touch on the players. How's
it feel to play in a Seminole district?
Help you keep much better.
Honestly, I think it's really like great to be playing in this Seminole district. Honestly, because I feel like it's the most competitive in all Seminole districts I've probably seen. Honestly, everybody on our team, I feel like they have a key to the team. They have what I say. I can't think of the word, but a role. Basically, they have their one role basically that they have to stick up to or do in order for us to like win the game and be successful as a team.
Anything about the comment about being in the Seminole?
I think being in the Seminoles is big to a lot of people, because we all these kids playing against each other. We all grew up with each other, playing against each other, different cities, different towns. So I feel like this is like a big drive towards us because we want to be like. You want to go out and be like, yes, my team beat you. It's a lot of stuff building up to, high school football in the district. So, yeah.
You guys know how I feel about the Seminole district. Take nothing away from any other district locally, but week in, week out, and top to bottom right now, like Zayd said, our Seminole is probably the best Seminole it's been in a long time. And I take nothing away from any other team, but nobody in Roanoke or any of these other places would want to be in the Seminole week in and week out. It is a tough, physical gauntlet, and I use that all the time. It's a slobber knocker every Friday night. And if you come out healthy, and you can come out an opportunity to host in the playoffs, you got a chance to make it in the playoffs, you got a chance to win. Go back and look at the record. I've been here 14 years, go even before me. The Seminole District winner or the top two Seminole District teams have an opportunity to either win the state, go deep in the playoffs, runner up, whatever. So I do. I'm very protective of this district because I think it's one of the best ones we got. I think it's probably one of the most physical districts in the state of Virginia. We're not a big bunch of Division I dudes. We don't have a lot of guys that have been signing like Logan Thomas back in the day and, La that was in here, back in 2016, 17. But we got a lot of dudes that play small college football at Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, and that can play daggone high school football and play 100%. Every single play, and I think that's exciting to watch at the end of the day.
Coach, David's coming back off an injury, correct? Is that right? And talk about that, David, your journey back, and what do you feel like you guys bring as a whole running the ball this year with several different options?
My journey back was hard. It was very hard, but I feel like it built me to it gave me something eager to play for. I feel like I have something to prove. Because, a lot of people, when you come back for injury, they be like, oh, he won't come back the same. But on the show, I never fell off. It was I'm still the same person, and I might end even better. And what was your other question, sir?
Guys, other guys running the ball this year besides you. Talk about some of those guys.
Oh, yes. Well, we like to call ourselves the three-headed monster. We got me, Zayd, Trey Meek, and we all bring different attributes. I'm the fast person, the agility. Then we got Zayd. He's a mix of me and Trey Meek. Trey Meek Hudson, he's a power back. Going into a sophomore year, 6'4", 200 pounds, getting no better than that. So I believe our running back room is the best in the district.
Coach, how important is it to have that two or three-headed monster based on how you run out of the spread?
I think, I'm going to take, David talked about himself a little bit. David is more of a slasher. Zayd's more, he's a slasher power guy. And like they said, Chameek's a sophomore. He ain't got nothing but power. He's just a big lug. He's almost 210, 15 pounds and right at 6'3". I think it's big. I mean, whenever we've had chances to make it deep in the district, we've had 2 or 3 running backs. If you can't run the ball in the Seminole district, you're not going to be very good. You can be fancy and you can go throw the ball and look yourself and all that, but at the end of the day, you got to run to win. And in this district, if you're not good up front, we're in trouble. And I think what we have this year that we haven't had in the past, and truth will be in the pudding, but proof will be in the pudding. But we have the 3 kids I feel like can definitely run the football in this district. But more importantly, this year, what we haven't had maybe in the last 2 years, we're pretty good up front. I really like our O-line, the way they've gelled together and putting it together. I think that we have a good opportunity to run the football in this district.
Moving the Jug Bowl up this year, what is that game going to be like? What do you guys go into that game, thinking, I guess?
Right now, we just want to win. We're 0-2. We can talk about my record. I've been here for 14 years. I'm 11-3. That don't mean nothing. We're 0-2 the last 2 years. We have a bad taste in our mouth. We left out of there last year. I can't answer anyway. Just we can't wait till that night. That's one of the ones we have marked, highlighted, underlined, circled, starred, whatever on our schedule. But our road to there is not going to be easy. In between there, we got a scrimmage against GW Danville, one of the better teams around here. We got William Fleming, which made it deep in the playoffs last year in a benefit game. And then we travel. Dumb head coach, athletic director, I guess I'd be the same person, me. We scheduled the #1 team in West Virginia coming out. They're 14-0. They averaged over 53 points a game last year. They gave up only 9 points a game. I didn't know this till the other day. Not one of their games went the distance. Every single game was a running clock. So they beat everybody at least 35-0. All right, so they're pretty good. So we're going there 5 hours away, all right, in their house. And it's a city that has 13 state championships, but I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't feel confident about it if it weren't for these 2 guys and the rest of my seniors beside me. And one thing I would like to talk about too is, we talk about offense all the time. You mentioned Slash, and we got this and that. Zayd's going to end up starting right now. He started 11-12, so he's 24. This will be his 25th start against Bridgeport, and he started since he was a sophomore. And our defense has been pretty good. We weren't that great on offense in 2023. Our defense kept us into every single game. And like I said, I had 6 sophomores starting on defense at that point in time. Not all are still there or still starting, but we have a great number of them that are. Last year, our defense was pretty daggone good. If you look at the numbers in the district, we ended up being, I think, 2nd in the district, 1st in the district in the regular season, obviously. And you take away the LCA games, we didn't give up a whole lot of points. I think we're still only an average like 12 to 13, 14 points a game. So our defense is where we've been hanging our hat the last 2 years. And I think that all starts with Zay. He has to call all the fronts. He puts us in all of our checks. And, he's definitely the captain of this team in terms of the defensive part of it. And I've got 4 or 5 definite leaders. 2 of them are sitting beside me. But I do think that where we start and where we end right now at Heritage Football, and we put a stamp on thing, is on the defensive side of the ball. So I just wanted to mention that. I think that sometimes that gets overlooked because of what we do on offense.
Offensively, how good's the line?
I think they're pretty good. I think we got the most depth we've had in the last 3 years. And I think defensive line, we might have a chance to even get some kids some rest this year compared to in the past. Now, you're in the Seminole District. That could change week 1. If you get through this thing healthy, that's an if. You got to get through healthy, and you go through the Glasses, the Amherst, the Rustburgs, the LCAs, those teams. I mean, Jefferson Forest, and you're not going to stay very healthy. So that's a big part of it. Anybody else?
Thank you, guys.
Hey, I want to appreciate y'all. Thank y'all very much for coming. We appreciate it. We appreciate it a lot.
Or how the training is going for you guys, and whatever else you want to add, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Training's going great for us. We've been, I think we've all had kind of a bad taste in our mouth since last year's 5-5 football season with a first-round loss to GW in the playoffs. We hold our standard very high as a team, as a program. So I think that's been motivation for us kind of all off-season long. We kind of talked about having small goals, so it's been about winning every single day, winning every day in the weight room, being more accountable to each other, being better teammates, executing game plans. We've just kind of broke it down to the absolute lowest fundamental levels that we can, and we want to be great at those things. We feel like, walking that path is going to kind of get us exactly where we want to go. Our standards are high. You know, we want to be the best team in the district. We think that's going to put us in position to be in the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, it's kind of a step-by-step process now to get to your ultimate goal. So, you know, we're trying to win each day. We've had a great offseason. I think about 95% of our varsity team has been there since either since January or since kind of March when spring started. So we've got a real bought-in group. We feel great about our chemistry. You know, we feel great about our accountability level. We're a bigger, stronger football team than we were last year, and we wanted to be that way on purpose. I don't think that we weren't big enough and strong enough last year to compete in the district and in the region, where it's going to take some guts and it's going to take some pounds and it's going to take some time in the weight room, and that's been our focus all offseason, and we feel great about where we are and chomping at the bit to get going. We play a tough schedule, so we're going to have to be at our best early. So we want to be at our best every day, knowing that that's the type of effort it's going to take every Friday night that we play.
I don't want to have you call out anybody in particular, but was there a group like the offensive line? I mean, is there anybody that had to get better from last year?
Yeah, we had to get better up front. You know, we play in the Seminole District, and it's the Seminole District is an up-front league. You know, everybody's got kids that can run and throw the ball and catch the ball. You know, games are won and lost up front. We knew that. We were young up front last year, and you know, I always say young teams become old. So, you know, a lot of those whoopings that we took up front last year were lessons for our guys, and they stayed on our mind all offseason long. You know, we didn't run the ball efficiently last year, and you know, you can't beat these teams in the Seminole District or these teams in the region that we play in if you're not competing up front. And the foundation for competing up front is being stronger, spending time in the weight room, being committed to the weight room. So we had to improve everywhere as a football team, but it started with us all being bigger, stronger, and being able to compete at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Guys, if I asked you to describe Coach Lovelace, how he's been so far, how would you describe him?
It's an amazing coach. Tells us to win the day, step by step, play by play.
Best coach I ever had. He'll do anything for his players.
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself, Coach?
Oh, man, I 100% bought in, you know, whatever that may mean. I think that means so many different things. I think EC Glass is a unique place, and we serve the unique needs of our kids in a bunch of unique different ways. You know, we wear a lot of different hats. I think that's what you sign up for when you sign up for this job. And, you know, loving your guys can mean a whole lot of different things. Sometimes that's pushing them to limits they didn't know they had. Sometimes that's being hard on them and disciplining them and holding them accountable. Sometimes that's giving them a hug and telling them you love them. But, you know, we always talk about how love makes you feel. It can make you feel at the top of the mountain, and it can make you feel down in the valley. But we try to give our guys as much love as possible, and that means a whole lot of different things.
Coach, you talk about running the ball. How do you feel like you guys will be improved in that area this year, personnel-wise?
We're a bigger team. We have more tight end and H-back bodies. We're bigger in the backfield. You know, we got a couple guys who we feel real good about handing the football off to in short yardage situation. We're big at quarterback. We're big at running back. So we look to be a whole lot more efficient in being able to run the ball and sustain drives. You know, we got a lot of guys who were not happy about, you know, what we did production-wise running the football last year. So that's been a focus of ours all offseason long. We want to move the ball and score touchdowns, but we want to be able to be efficient and go on long drives and march down the field.
Was there a point, was it at the end of last season, was there a point during the season where you realized something's missing and you've got to rectify that, and a lot of it's off-season based?
I don't know if it was a certain point last year. We played such a competitive schedule. You know, even the games that we won, they were all super competitive games. I think for us in our program, that our players really saw the need to be focused for 4 quarters. We had a lot of games where we would start slow and kind of finish well, and it wasn't enough. We had other games that we would start fast and not finish. And you know, my mind goes to Rustburg. We lost in overtime, you know, the last game of the season. And we did a great job moving the football that game, but we didn't get timely stops. We gave up big plays. So just our overall mentality was something that we've been focused on all year. Every Sunday we kind of go back and we pick out the worst plays from the previous Friday night. And we never want mental mistakes to be a part of that playlist. We always talk about controlling what we can control. And one of the things we can control is just if we execute our part. So that's been a focus of ours all offseason long, was doing our part. We don't want to help teams move the ball and put the ball in the end zone for other teams. We want to make it as hard as possible, and we don't want to hurt ourselves at all. So I think just the overall focus of completing the task at hand has been the focus all offseason long, which we know is going to translate to playing 4 quarters of football in the fall.
Coach, as you enter your 3rd year now here at UC Glasson, what's the biggest way you've developed as a coach? What's the biggest thing that you've maybe learned in your time here?
I think one of the things that we've learned is that you gotta keep your guys having fun. I think we sometimes forget that this is the funnest game in the world, and we should be having a good time doing it. And although we got goals and we want to meet those goals, I think it's important for us to mix in to remind our guys that they're still kids, and we want them to run around and have fun playing this game that we love so much and that we're so dedicated to. And I think it's easy to kind of get wrapped up in the right now of things and forgetting the time spent and how important it is. So I think we've done some fun things over the off season, some things that have nothing to do with football, going hiking and taking guys out, spending time doing things, outside of our normal weight room and practice time. And I think those bonds are only going to make us play harder for each other and make this thing mean more than what it already does.
Players, he talked about you guys being bigger at quarterback. I'm sure he's talking about Jaleel Holloway. What kind of quarterback is he from a player's perspective? What do you hear from him in the huddle and at practice every day?
He takes command of things. He can run the ball. He can throw it. He knows how to make smart reads, and he's a team player.
Yeah, definitely a leader. Always brings up like the linemen or they do something wrong. He's a great guy.
And he picks on the little things with us, and he's willing to block and put his body on the line too. That's one thing about him.
And guys, what do you hope to bring to your positions, just kind of personally? What do you feel like your best qualities are heading into the year?
Just be a leader, and honestly, I feel like with us is like our chemistry with each other. We're all on each other about everything, all the little things that the coaches preached us about. Because if you can't do the little things right, how do you expect to do the big things right?
Yeah, like you said, being a leader, making sure everybody else on the line is right.
Communication.
Communication is key.
For everybody, how would you define leadership?
Define leadership means taking accountability on one another. Even like sometimes when it might look like in a derogatory way, but it's actually not. And I would also say like holding each other accountable. Like if one of us miss a rep, we all just restart and do it together as a team, because you can't win in this game unless you're a team.
I think it's a lot about vulnerability. There's different ways you can be a leader. You can be like a vocal leader who like shouts out stuff, encouragements and all that, or you can be one that leads by example, just by being good and doing all that.
I think leadership is about showing others who you are, and that doesn't mean that you do things right all the time. I think there's learning lessons and everything. Julius used the word vulnerability that we talk about all the time. Every Friday night we kind of put ourselves out there because we're going to try our absolute hardest, and we're going to go at it as hard as we want, as hard as we can. But the outcome is something that we don't know, and I don't think it's a popular trait in society for adults and for kids to do something as hard as they can, even when the outcome could be something that is not favorable for you. So we talk all the time about just, being vulnerable and being willing to go all out. Even though we might not reach every single goal, we're going to show up every single week and be as vulnerable as possible and play absolutely as hard as we can, despite any outcome and despite any circumstance.
Talk about a lot. I think that there are expectations for football in Midtown now that maybe didn't used to exist a while back. And so what is that like for you? What is it like for these guys heading into the season?
It's a wanted stress. I think that I don't know any coach that wouldn't want a job that comes with high expectations. And if your place doesn't have expectations. You're trying to get it there, I'm sure. Obviously, we set the standard for ourselves very high. I think we show that every year with the schedule that we play and the teams that we schedule. We want to play the best teams, and we know that that's going to prepare us and kind of thicken our skin up as much as possible for when it matters most. But there's a standard to win, and I don't think there's never a cap to it. We want to beat every single team that we can play. We play for one of the most storied and oldest high schools in the state of Virginia that has a long history. We walk down that hallway every day, and we see these pictures to our left and our right, and we want to do the same things. There's not a team on our schedule that we look at as superior. We're the team that we feel like it can compete with anybody else in the state, and we want to live up to that standard, not just in the fall season, but in the off season, in our actions and with everything that we do.
General comments, just like last year, if you want to open up what's going on, and then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah, so it's exciting times at JF, man. Going into year 5. Everybody kind of knows what to expect at this point. Kind of talking about with the guys at the beginning of the season, we're at that point with our program where we feel like we've got a really, really good foundation set. We've had 2 years of some good solid success. Last year, kind of the story was proven that, the previous year when we had that 10-win season in 2023, last year was kind of about proving that wasn't a one-year thing, right? And I think we went out and we did that. This year, it's about taking that next step as a program, right? So past 2 years, made it to the second round of the playoffs and had some tough losses in both years. And so this year, it's about finding a way to take that next step as a program, to find a way to get past that second round and really prove that not only are we here to be a solid playoff football team, that we're here to contend for championships. That's where I think we're at as a program at this point.
For both players, if I say the name Sharando, cringeworthy, eye roll, what comes to mind?
Yeah, definitely cringeworthy and eye roll. That was a devastating loss. Definitely a team we could have beat and should have beat. 5 turnovers kind of killed us there. And we still didn't. It wasn't even a blowout. You hear 5 turnovers, you think you got destroyed, but it was still a 1-score game. So, yeah, that name definitely rings a bell.
Yeah, for me, it's not as cringeworthy as it is. It just hurts a little bit because, it was a great group of seniors we had last year, and it hurts to travel all the way up to Sharando, right near West Virginia, and go out like that and kind of shoot ourselves in the foot a few times. But, it's also motivation for us as well. So I feel like that holds some value as well.
For you, Coach, skill position, you bring a lot back at the ball positions that touch the ball. How do you replenish what you guys had and lost on the offensive and defensive lines, especially the depth?
Yeah, so you talk about depth and skill-wise, I think this is probably the deepest skill group that I've had as far as guys that have played a lot and have a lot of experience. My 5 years here at JF, this is probably the most experience we're bringing back, both in the offensive backfield and the defensive backfield, with a lot of guys that have had a lot of reps on some big-time stages on Fridays. But then it's the exact opposite up front, right? Anytime, I don't care what team it is, what level, if you're replacing 5 offensive linemen, you got some work to do. That is a really, really important position group, maybe the most important position group. And so to have 5 new faces there, certainly there's some questions that got to get answered. We're at that point now where yesterday was our first day of shoulder pads, and so it's real football now, right? We've been doing the helmets and running around and catching passes and doing all that stuff, which is great. There's a time and a place for that throughout the summer, but now we got the pads on. It's here. Football season is here when those pads come on, and so we can finally start to figure out some of these young guys that we're really excited about on the offensive line. Great group of guys that played JV last year, had an undefeated JV season, and were really dominant up front. Excited to see them, kind of start to step into a bigger role on Fridays rather than Thursdays. And then moving a guy like Slade Cassie, who in the past was a tight end for us, he's moving to offensive tackle. And so having a guy who has a ton of game experience and is one of the bigger, stronger guys in our program, him stepping in and playing tackle for us, and then you combine that with a good JV group coming up. I'm really excited to see what we have and figure out who's who and what's what up front on the offensive and defensive lines. But again, we got to go out and see it, right? There's some questions that still have to be answered for sure.
On the offensive line in particular last year, there was size and athleticism. where are you as a program now in terms of those players that you have on the offensive line in particular, having the right size, but also the footwork and the ability to move as the offense demands?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about size, and you mentioned that word, and the first guy that comes to mind is Logan Candace, right? I think he's probably as big of a guy as you're going to find in high school football, and so I'm not going to expect any one guy to come in and fill that guy's shoes, a guy who has started a lot of games and was a dominant player for us. But like I said, we've got some young guys coming up. Seth Bell, Chase Spraker. Chase actually played a little bit for us in that Sharando game, so he's got some experience on Fridays. Guys that are coming up that I think certainly not as just big and dominating as maybe a Logan Candace, but guys that are really good technically and athletically that can do maybe some different things than Logan, not necessarily better or worse, but just different, right? And I think that's kind of the cool thing about the offensive line is that kind of sets the tone for your team, right? Last year we were really able to lean into having big, strong guys up front and being a power football team and just getting after it. And certainly there's going to be an element to us with that this year. But I think with having some guys that are maybe a little bit more athletic, a little bit better blocking in space, that sort of things, there are some things we can do out on the edges that maybe a little bit different than what you saw with us last year.
Coach, just to clarify, are you saying that all of the offensive linemen are coming up new except for Slade, all of new to varsity?
Yeah. So, and we have some guys who, played some reps for us last year, but as far as returning starting offensive linemen, we graduated all 5 last year. And so Slade got a lot of reps for us at tight end last year. We did some 2 tight end stuff with him at Spencer. And so Slade is now bumping to offensive tackle, which is honestly going to be a big plus for us at that position because you guys know Slade's a heck of a football player. And so to have him on the offensive line and kind of setting the tone from a leadership standpoint, from a physicality standpoint, is going to really do a lot for that group, particularly when you're talking about guys that are coming up from the JV level that we're expecting to get a lot out of those guys. And so to have a guy like Slade that they can look to and say, like, man, that's how it's done, it goes a long, long way for sure.
For the players, you've had winning success in football and other sports. How much do you feel like winning is contagious and winning one place can make winning another place, I don't want to say easier, but we've done it before.
Do you want me?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely contagious. Like, at least having the people that have been there and won the games and been the big moments, that's definitely good from a leadership standpoint to have those people kind of guide the younger, maybe less experienced players that haven't won those big games or haven't been in those big moments. So I definitely think it is contagious, and it's definitely carried over from other sports, at least for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with what he said. I definitely believe winning is contagious. The guys the year before us when we were juniors, they won a lot of games, and I feel like that really carried over to our season. Just having like that high like standard of we got to win these games, and like losing obviously as an athlete sucks, and nobody really wants to lose. So I think winning's definitely contagious in our program, and it's going to keep building on that.
And just to kind of touch on that, I think that's one of the great things about JF is that we got a lot of guys who do a lot of different sports, right? We got guys that are on the football team that are also big-time basketball players. We got guys that are on the football team, these 2, that are also big-time lacrosse players, right? I mean, two all-state selections here in lacrosse. And there is pretty much any sport. There's always going to be carryover between the different ones. And kind of like you mentioned, Bob, like if you're successful and you're winning in one sport, like you start to kind of carry that confidence to where it bleeds over into everything. And I think that's the thing that we have going the most for us as a school is regardless of whatever season it is, whatever program it is, like when we go out on the field or the court, we expect to produce at a high level. And that carries over across all the athletes, across all the sports.
How have other sports made you a better football player, starting with Spencer?
Yeah, definitely. Lacrosse has definitely improved my footwork, my physicality, my speed, and overall endurance. Because, I mean, as a midfielder, I'm going offense to defense, or I'm running to the box to sub off for a quick break. And I think this past season, I was averaging maybe 38 minutes a game, which is a lot. So that definitely prepared me for the football aspect and all the conditioning, and I think that was very beneficial to me.
For me, I go year-round, football, basketball to lacrosse, so I think all 3 of those help me in every way possible for an athlete myself. For football season, I go into basketball season, stay in condition. I think like away from like the physical side of things, mentally, like I think being with teammates all year round that play other sports with you, that helps like the team chemistry and team bonding, and just being able to like be with their boys, win games, and do that in all three sports is just awesome. And I think it helps me a lot.
Coach, who are some of the skill players that you would highlight really quickly?
Yeah, so coming back for us, obviously, Thax and Spence here, both offensively and defensively. Spence on the defensive end, whether it's a skill position, you got to be skilled to play that position. I don't know if you consider it quote-unquote skill. But then in the back end, Gabe Barnett and Xander Coleman both were guys that started for us at corner as sophomores and both had tremendous seasons for us, and so expecting big things from those guys. Both played a big role for us on offense too, coming back as ball carriers, and again expecting big things for them there. Luke Johnson is a guy who's started games on both sides of the ball and is ultra dependable in the back end as a safety, and then a guy who always finds a way to get it done on offense. Harrison Carter is a guy that's kind of putting himself into the mix. Didn't play a ton for us last year, was dealing with some hamstring injuries, things of that nature, but expecting a big role for him offensively and defensively. And then at our H fullback running back position, Charleston Harris and Cam Fox. Cam came up and kind of split time between JV and varsity last year and got some touches for us, scored a touchdown in a playoff game. And then Charleston was a guy who was an all-district punt returner for us last year. And so, again, expecting him to take on a bigger role both offensively and defensively. We got a lot of skill guys that I think can do a lot of good things for us.
Comments just about how things are going since you've been around?
Yeah.
And then we'll open it up for questions.
Awesome. So got here in February. We're very blessed. We're very fortunate to have a great group of kids, have great admin, great community. Have been working our tails off since February, since we got here. Started two-a-days last week. Had very good practices, very good turnout, and we're excited about it. Got a lot of young talent, got a lot of older guys that we can lean on with experience. So just working on developing that and making it the best that we can be and maximize our potential this year, for sure. So.
For you, Coach, how appealing was this job, especially when you consider that there are quite a bit of experienced former head coaches that are part of the staff and coaching staff and support staff?
Absolutely. No, it was a great job. So I'm from a small town in North Carolina, and it reminds me just like that. So it feels like home every day. When I came and interviewed for the job, I knew then it was like, took me back to North Carolina, where I'm from, my hometown, and then having the opportunity to coach guys like this and be around some very experienced and very successful head coaches was something that I couldn't turn down the opportunity to do. And the Lord has blessed me with a job and blessed me with a great staff and great kids to coach and do. So it was very, very exciting.
Coach, go ahead. Alex, I know you committed to Virginia over the offseason. Last year you came into the season not with all that attention on you. So now that you have that decision behind you and the confidence of going to an ACC school like Virginia, how is that going to impact your upcoming season?
I'm going to play with the same confidence and just stay level-headed, play for my teammates, and just, obviously we play to win, but stay together, and that's the most important part.
What was it about Virginia that made you decide, all right, let's shut this thing down and let's make the decision before the season begins?
When I went to Virginia, well, actually, I had my first couple of workouts with Coach Rudd. I had one workout with Coach Rudd. And when I actually got up to Virginia, the whole atmosphere, everything about it just made me feel like I was at home. It was like a home away from home. So the decision felt very easy. So honestly, I didn't see a point of wasting time. Just wanted to get there and it just felt great.
Coach, what's the biggest thing you've learned being a head coach for about, 6-7 months now?
Yeah, it's a lot more responsibility. Every little detail matters as an assistant. Every detail matters, but you don't know all the inner workings of everything. But no, it's been a blessing. It's very fun to lead a group of men, lead a group of coaches into every day, have a plan, and just implement your culture and stuff. But it's awesome. You get to know the community a little bit better. You get to know the parents a little bit better, and you do it as an assistant coach and get to have a little bit deeper relationship as a head coach. You can do it as an assistant coach, so it's pretty cool.
Was it a relief to get back on the field?
Oh, it's always a relief to get on the field. It's always fun. That's the 10% of your job that is a gift, and everything's a gift, obviously. But it is a treat at the end of the day to go out there and practice and get after it with the guys and watch them compete. And yeah, it gets that itch right, so it's good.
For the players, starting with Ari, talk about the team bond that you've seen so far with the guys.
Yeah, no, we have a great group of guys. They're a well-knit group, especially with some young guys coming in, bringing them along, seeing the older guys lead vocally and by example. I think we have a good unit. We talk about being a family and loving each other, and we're all we got. So talking about that every day and going in and watching these two guys lead from the front and do that, and bringing other guys along with them, upperclassmen, and then showing the younger guys how it's done. So when they leave it better than they found it 4 years ago when they got there.
What have you seen Ari out of the teamwork?
I would say the same thing he said. Really just the fact the older guys helping the younger kids just get better every day. You know, we come with the same mindset every single day that we want to win a state championship. So that brotherhood that we building will carry on into the season.
For you, Ari, this is a Rustburg program that continues to just churn out, and it's like 6-7 wins a year. Is there added pressure? Is that something that you inherently know in the offseason is just the expectation for Rustburg?
Yeah, I would say it's an expectation every year for us to level up and get better. You know, we have a new head coach, so the program is different. Everything's harder. So when we play in the season, it'll be easier and we'll win more games.
Ari, if you watch you last year, I mean, you're playing defense really hard, you're coming downhill on every play, same at running back. With a new head coach and everything, what have you been working on in the last year to really improve your game and maybe take it to the next level?
I would say really just training on speed and really trying to get bigger, you know, and his weight room program is making me way stronger than last year. So playing with the same speed, but playing stronger, playing bigger, that's really going to add on to the season.
You mentioned about committing to Virginia early. Talk about the recruiting process and what you can teach about that to your teammates, even if they're not getting at the UVA level. But what can you teach them?
I'll say stay patient because your time is always going to come. God has a plan for you. The recruiting process happened pretty fast. Came out of nowhere. But, everything happened pretty fast. And to me, I thought necessarily it wasn't going to come, but it came at the right time. It came when it was meant to come. So just thankful and just blessed that I was able to be in that position at the right time, right place, everything.
For you, Coach, what's it like going through that where, sometimes recruitment, you can see it coming from a mile away. Other times, like in Alex's case, comes together so quickly.
Yeah, I was blessed enough to play college ball, so I had a little bit of experience in the recruiting field. And I knew these guys both have the talent to play at the next level. It's just a matter of when and who pulls the trigger on offering them. So putting these guys out there, marketing their skills, marketing them as a person was really cool, and getting those phone calls and get to explain them to coaches and tell them what a gem they are, a diamond in the rough. I saw it coming, and I was like, this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to hear his excitement on the phone once it happened, and once he committed, I knew talking to him that he felt at home there, and that's where he wanted to be. So we were happy to support him in that decision. So.
Coach, do you feel like you had to sell yourself to your players and everybody, because it's not like you were an assistant locally last year? They didn't know you from Adam. Right. Did you feel like you had to sell yourself to them once you were named head coach?
Yeah, I don't necessarily see it as selling yourself. I think it's building a relationship. That's what we found ourselves on. You can't coach a kid hard and make it hit home until you have that relationship and understand them and they understand you and your expectations. So instead of coming in and selling yourself as, the guy who likes to cut his teeth on glass, it's more of, hey, man, I'm going to encourage you and I'm going to love you up. But at the same time, the standard's the standard, and it doesn't change for anybody. And this is how we're going to do it. When you don't do it and live up to that, this is the consequence. And then why are you doing what you're doing not to do that? So just having those relationships with those kids and letting them know you care about them deeper than just football was my number one priority walking in the door day one.
For the players, talk about Coach away from football. What's he like?
I would say, he's a great person in general. Anytime we need something, he cares for us. Like today, he took us. So I would say building a relationship with him since December or January, February, March, however, I would say it's been great. Just us building that bond will lead to the season. And like you were saying, I don't think he necessarily had to sell himself. I think him coming in here, showing us that he cared about us, that he wants us to be better than last year, and he did his research, really showed me okay, this is a good coach.
What kind of things are you installing new offense, defensive schemes? Anything new in there?
Yeah, so we've been blessed. We have Chris Watts, who was a longtime coach at Liberty High School, went to Davidson for the past 3 years. He's going to be our defense coordinator. We'll be in a 4-3 defense, and then we're building off a little bit of what they did last year and kind of implementing our own little spice into that. So,
Talk about what you've seen out of Coach away from football.
It's just been great relationship building. We're able to connect with him on certain things. It's been fun. It's been very fun last couple of months. Just getting to know him as a person, but also as a coach, building that relationship on the field, being able to trust each other. So when the time comes, we're able to do certain things that normally we wouldn't be able to if had we not built that trust. But it's been incredible the past couple of months. I'm just excited to see how it leads into the season.
Coach, how important is it? I mean, I've heard relationship building. I don't want to say is that more important than the X's and O's, but talk about how important that is.
Yeah, I honestly, I think it is more important than the X's and O's. Your relationship dictates how hard somebody will play for you. And when the going gets tough, if they're going to pack up and, quit, or if they're going to keep going and dig a little bit deeper because they trust you and they want to play for you. Also, you're in high school football. It's more about developing young men than it is how many rings you win or how many games you win. Yeah, we all want to win. Everybody knows that. Everybody wants a ring. But at the end of the day, what are you doing to set these young guys up to be men one day and to be husbands and be fathers? That's the ultimate winning in life, right? And that's what we want to do, and that's what we founded ourselves on. So,
Do you, for comments that you want to open up, how things are going for you, whatever?
Sure.
And then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah, I mean, going into our third year, or at least my third year in the program, I thought the first year was kind of about building a foundation. Last year was about learning how to compete, because in my first year, I thought we had some uncompetitive losses, is how I would classify those, and those can't exist in our program. And so last year, I thought the seniors did a great job in learning how to compete, how to show the guys how to compete, and we had some competitive losses. We lost 3 one-possession games, and it cost us a shot at the playoffs. So this year, we're trying to take that step forward, win those competitive games. I think we're going to play a lot of close games this year, 7, 8 of them be one-possession games, and we've got to come out on the right side of those in order to have a special season that the guys want to have, and we all want to have. And so we're excited for this season. I mean, it's great to have these 2 guys back for another year with me. And AJ had a come-out season last year, was first-team all-district running back, and produced he was second-team linebacker, I believe, as well. So just produced at a high level. Trace, played quarterback for us and did an excellent job. And so I'm excited to have our last ride together coming up this year, and really just see him come into his own as a young man. And so we're really excited for the season, and we'll open it up for questions.
What steps, Coach, have you taken this offseason, as well as with your support staff, to turn those close games into victories?
Well, I think it's all about stress, right? So in those games' biggest moments, whether it's a 2-minute drill, like against Heritage, we had to get a stop, but then we had an opportunity to go down and score. And we drove the field, but then we couldn't convert right as time expired. And so it's all about stress and producing under stress. So we have a common saying in our program, under high stress, we go to our lowest form of training. And so we've got to continually, it's my job and our staff's job to induce stress to the guys and get them to perform in a stressful situation. And so, we use different tactics. We have music. Sometimes we'll invite the cheer team down. They're cheering. We got music blaring. We got other things going on, and it's a lot of stress. You're trying to focus on your job, but Friday nights are the same way. You got a lot of different things going on. People yelling in the stands. Obviously you got a great competitor across from you. You got different stressors, and so we've got to be able to execute in those. And so we try to induce that, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's on the field, all of those things to help them produce under high stress.
For AJ and for Trace, what have you guys learned as players, AJ and Trace, what have y'all learned as players about converting those opportunities and performing under the stress that coaches induced?
Well, see, what he said was we go to our lowest point of, training. It immediately means a lot because, you got so much going on, you don't want to mess up, but at the same time, you got everything going on, so it's very likely you're going to mess up. But you just got to go down to your, how do you say it, you just got to lock in, really, what I'm trying to say.
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure. What have you learned about how to perform under stress and under those situations, especially with the off-season training and tactics that coaches has put on you guys?
So really, like you said, go to your lowest form of training, but when it's stressful, it's really hard. You got to calm your body, calm your mind, and just really focus on your job and making sure you know the jobs of people around you so you can execute at your highest ability.
Coach, the margin for error is slim to none in this district. Obviously.
Absolutely.
How does that help you and your guys raise that competitive level and that nature of competition each and every week?
Yeah, I mean, it's, because I don't think this year, this is our most athletic and our strongest football team that we've had, at least in my time, like in my 3 seasons. So going into this, it's not going to be an ability issue. It's going to be a will issue. And so, in summer training, we're out and we typically do, we kind of build it up. So you might start with, 640s, then you go to 840s and 10. But are you willing to go hard, whether it's the number 140 or the number 11, when you don't know where the end is? And so that's something that we have to continually develop, is our will to win. It won't be an ability issue. It will be a will issue. And so will we perform when it matters? Will we be able to push ourselves? Because JF, they were just up here. They want to win too, right? They want to win too. And so are we willing to go further, to go harder, to go longer than we think we can? And so that's where we're going to win those one-possession games. That's where we're going to come out on the right side. We can need a fourth down stop. Heritage driving down and running slash here, running slash there. Hey, we need to get this guy off the field. Are we willing? Are we willing to do that? And so that's what I'm excited, and we're trying to implement into our program, into our training element. Are we willing to go? I always ask them, when you got push-ups, Coach, how many? That's a wrong question. That's a wrong question. Let's work hard, and then that'll be a determining factor there.
Coach, defensively, I think takeaways were such a big deal for you guys last year. What do you expect on the defensive side of the ball for you guys this year?
Yeah, Scott Jennings has done an incredible job with our defense. In year one, I got on him a little bit. I'm like, where are our edges? We're losing this, we're losing that. We had a lot of injuries and a lot of things going on within our program, but that refines you as a coach, right? Because you have an idea, you have a game plan. All right, but when things change, how adjustable are we? And so last year, Scott did an amazing job. We went down to Furman University, where my good friend, he's the co-DC down there. And when I was at VMI, playing against Furman was always very difficult. And so we were like, hey, let's go down there and spend some time with them to see how they organize things. And they did a tremendous job helping us and formulating, our defense in a way that we are more flexible. So last year, when guys went down or things got messed up, hey, we're still able to operate and produce in a multiple style defense where we don't have a ton of drop off. And that was, I think, really beneficial. And the movement that we did and incorporated equally, I think we had 20 more TFLs last year than the year before. And so like the movement and the communication that it causes opposing offenses was a tremendous job. And we had 3 shutouts, I believe, last year, which, again, kudos to Scott Jennings and the work that he's done on defense and these guys' hard work and implementing it.
Coach, one thing I've heard you say is it's my 3rd year, but then you say it's our program. How important is it to give the kids ownership, even though the accountability might fall on you?
Yeah, I think, and accountability is something that we always try to instill, because that's something like, if we win, it's, man, Trace did a great job, AJ does a great job. If we lose, that's on me. And as the head of a program, you always try to take responsibility and accountability, because everything that happens underneath is on you. Like, I'll give you a quick story. Like today, they got teachers, thing going on, in the new cafeteria. We had a couple guys walk through there, right? And so, AD text, hey, where are these kids supposed to go? They're supposed to be around the back, and so it's always like, that falls on me. I'm going to make sure they know, hey, go the same way you've been going all summer, to get to the health room, to the meeting rooms. And so it is like an accountability, responsibility thing that I think all of us as men, we need to understand what it is and how to use it.
Hey Jay, it was a breakout year for you last year. I think there were games where we really saw you come along and do some really big things. What did you learn last year that you're implementing this year?
Well, to start off, last year, I feel like I didn't really know, I didn't have great vision, and I didn't really know the best techniques to use to get around the defense and get through them. But this year, from last year, I learned a lot, like jump cuts and how to see outside of the line, get around.
For the guys first, then for Coach, how important is it when football practice is over that y'all clear your mind to football and, concentrate on either studies, fun, whatever it may be?
I got you. It's really important, really, because I always go by a motto of my coaches, even my parents. It's school first, then it's football. And I know what my studies can take me. And football is, I love football to death. That's all I really know. So, but I do know, like, if I want to go deep in this football thing, I know my studies is first. So making sure my mind is clear, making sure, okay, when I go home, I got homework, or I got to do this, or I got to study, I got a big test coming up. That's just really how it's supposed to, that's how I usually take it, so.
Yeah, so probably I'd say like right after football ends, I get dressed, get ready, go home, and the second I walk into my room really is like different than when I walk on the field. When I walk on the field, it's game time. When I walk into my house, when I walk into my room, I'm like, all I think about is other things other than football that I have other responsibilities too, but on the field, football is what's most important. So when I'm off the field, I have my responsibilities, and I know I'm accountable for that. And when I'm on the field, I have my responsibilities.
And then, I mean, for me, when I get home, it's still football time. I got a script the next day. I plan the next day. But my wife is pregnant, so, I try to love her up and do the dishes. If it needed to sweep the floors, we sweep the floors. But keep her happy, keep her load light as we can. And that's a really nice time, honestly, for me. Put on a podcast and just kind of do some work around the house. And then normally at night after I eat dinner, I'm scripting, doing stuff for the following day, and making sure these guys are right because we have morning practices too, so it comes on you fast. And I ain't gonna get up at 5:30. I'd rather do it at 8:30 at night and make sure it's ready to go.
Coach, what's this team like elsewhere? Some position-wise that you're excited about?
Well, I think up front, you got three starters back up front, and really four if you include Jerry, who started the last half of our season. But you have Slade Shaner back. He's been a 3-year starter for us, done an incredible job through the offseason. Raydell Benbaugh, again, 3rd-year starting for us at center, doing an incredible job, little powerhouse there. You got at right guard, you got Wyatt C., who I thought he had a tremendous season last year on both sides of the ball. I think he had 50-plus tackles at D-line, played every snap for us at O-line as well, but just a gritty, hard-working young man that I love coaching. Then you got Jeremiah Dunning, who came in at right tackle for us after Preston McFadder went down with an injury, started the last few games, really from Heritage on the rest of the season, and did a good job, had a good offseason. And then at left tackle, we got a newcomer. He's going to be a true freshman, Cameron Hamilton, that is athletically as talented as anybody I've ever coached. And he's big, he's strong, he's got just natural strength. It's kind of cool to see because you don't see it very often, but he came in the weight room. I mean, he'll clean two plates, he'll squat. I think this is in-season work, but he was squatting 315 for 4 sets of 5 as a true freshman, and has just done an incredible job. So up front, I'm really excited. I think we have a really nice blend of old guys that are senior enough up front. We got Trace, who's a seasoned vet in the backfield along with AJ, and then we have some exciting skill players on our edges that are all juniors. You got Casey Martin, who is just one of the most, I think, dynamic athletes, can just jump out of the gym, great ball skills, can play both sides of the ball. So we're really excited for him coming up from JV, along with Jaheim Jones. Jaheim can play quarterback too, kind of cross-training quarterback and receiver, and plays safety for us, but he is an excellent athlete. You got Xavier Mays in the slot, who, like, when he runs, it looks like just a gazelle. He's just like real smooth across the turf, and it's really fun to see that. DJ Clark is another one. So those are some exciting skill players that will be on both of the back ends, out wide and the DB area for us. And so I'm excited for them. And I think Samari Thompson on the D-line, he's going to have another great season. He had a solid season last year as a sophomore, going into his junior year. He's worked incredibly hard in the weight room. His numbers are way up. So we're excited for him. He's got really a good blend of athleticism, hand work, hand speed, hand violence, all that good stuff that goes into making a great defensive lineman. So we got a lot of great pieces.
That's first, and then for questions.
Well, 3-7 last year, so we've got a long ways to go, but we have really worked hard at it. We've had a great off season. Our guys have been really committed to the off season. We've had a great attitude. We've had an incredible work ethic in the off season. So I mean, we will be a better football team, that is for sure. But the Seminole District is obviously the best district, I think, for schools our size in the state of Virginia. So it's a tall order. We'll compete and we'll see how we're going to do. But we're proud of where we are right now.
For you, Coach, when you guys are trying to get through that ceiling and get back to 500 or better football, is there added importance to starting fast, knowing that the district can get challenging and can snowball one way or the other?
I think that's really important for us. I mean, I think just as much as anything, we've got to win possessions to start the season off. I mean, just possessions. I mean, there was a lot of games we didn't win possessions last year. I mean, just getting first down after first down or getting stops and getting off the field. I mean, I think that's just basic building blocks that we've got to get to. So I think that early momentum against Appomattox, who's traditionally really, really good. Allegany's coming off a good football season. I suspect Halifax will be better. Then we get right into Seminole District play after that. So I mean, it's going to be, yes, we need to start off well in this league. That is important.
Coach, stepping back onto the sidelines for yourself, any big takeaways you have from last season in terms of getting back in the swing of things and making play calls and getting guys on the right path?
I think you always learn when you go back and you do something, and for each season you turn the page and you see what you can reflect on and what you assessed and how you can get better. And when the season was over, we interviewed each player on our team, and we talked about each how we can improve and what we could do better. And we talked about things such as being more disciplined and being a team that would compete. Now, those are our mottos, and that's where we've been with it. And we have done that in the off season. Now, our goal is for that to translate into games, and we'll see where it goes with that. I mean, I think we will certainly be a better football team, and because we've worked at it that hard. Our guys are going to fight hard this year because we've worked at it that hard.
Coach, talk about maybe the staff that you have right currently. Obviously, the biggest news in the media, I guess, was bringing Logan in. But maybe just talk about all of those guys and where they'll fit in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're really proud of the coaches that we have at Brookville, from Logan Thomas, who's just, I mean, I won't say this about Logan specifically. I mean, he is such a humble guy. I mean, this guy's played in the NFL, and obviously he knows more football than our coaches. I mean, he's done football all day long for a long period of time, and yet he gives kids rides home from school, and he comes to practice inside, and oftentimes in the library when we're practicing football or working on offensive plays. And back in the spring, he's signing autographs at the same time. I love his humbleness and all that. But I want to pivot from that and say, the talk of Brookville for the last couple of years is coaches and all kinds of stuff. The high school football is about the players on the football field. That's what it's about. It's not about the coaches, and it's not about any of that. We have guys, and we've worked to put the best people we can in front of our guys. But the magic of high school football is the kids who play the game on Friday night, such as Lincoln and Cam and the other kids on our team who've worked their butts off to really be good football players. And that's the story. That's not about coaches. It's about the players.
Lincoln and Cam, how important is the weight room?
The weight room is really important. Last year, we were definitely a smaller team compared to everyone else, and this year we've definitely gained a lot of muscle and lean muscle. I've gained 20 pounds since last year, and that's just a big improvement from us being in the weight room every day.
I agree with that too. I've also gained a lot of weight and muscle, and we've been dying in there, man, every single week. And I think it's really important to be a part of the team and bond together as well.
Lincoln, I got some other receivers on the team and some other weapons, but talk to me about the chemistry you've been forming here with Cam. I'm sure you've been working quickly together here over the last few weeks and getting ready for the season. So talk to me about your connection with him and then also the other guys on the team.
Ever since Cam moved from Cali, we've been going to the field off and on. Some weeks we've been going after practice, throwing routes, same as the other receivers. Trevor Johns, he's been coming with us. My brother, Camden, we all go. It's just Blake goes to his brother, so we've just been getting chemistry so we have it ready down.
How important is it for a quarterback to have a good chemistry with the offensive line?
It's really good. You don't want to be nip and nappy with them in the middle of a game. You want to trust them and know that if you get hurt, that they'll come and get you, and that y'all can just fix it out in the middle of the game instead of bickering and arguing. That's what just brings the team down with the whole line and the quarterback.
Cam, talk about your journey to Brookville and kind of what you want to bring to the field this year.
I would say I would want to bring just a greater team bond. I think chemistry is super important and having fun. I feel like as if the more fun we're having together, the more dominant we will be. And that kind of started with our journey coming to here. We moved during the middle of the school year, actually, so we could form a better bond with our teammates.
So instead of finishing the school year off in California, we came like a day before New Year's, and we just been in, like building that chemistry ever since.
Coach, who do you feel like is the best teacher of football skills within your staff, and why?
You know, I think one of the best ones, one of the best additions we have on staff as far as teaching skill is Dustin Russell, who came to us from Rustburg. I mean, I think he's really got tremendous expertise especially on the offensive line, and I think his insight is going to be tremendously. He's going to have tremendous impact on our football program. I'm just really, really proud of the work he's done, and his technical knowledge is really impressive, and he works at it really, really hard. So I think him, and then I think we have two young guys too that are technically very, very sound that are often overlooked because they are so young, that are especially in the weight room and then in the skill positions. That's Dylan Anufer and Micah Glaze, who are both, I just wholly expect them to be head coaches one day in the future for some school somewhere. They have all what it takes. Both of them were outstanding Brookville Bees and obviously great players for the Bees in the past, and they're great young coaches.
For you, Coach, blending players that have the history and pedigree at Brookville that are now on your coaching staff with other coaches who may not have been at Brookville but have the head coaching experience, how much and why are those two common traits that you seem to look for in this coaching staff and support staff?
Well, I mean, I think that Brookville is a place of pride. I don't think all schools are like that. I mean, I've probably been around as many schools as anybody in the country. I mean, that's been my career, and I think there's certain places that are really, really special, and Brookville is one of them. There's a deep brotherhood or bond, especially in Brookville football, that goes back to people like Jim Worley and Bunker Hill and Eddie Martin, and it's just always been consistent that people who played for Brookville and coached for Brookville kept up with Brookville. And I remember being a head coach and winning big games, and Eddie Martin being a coach at GW Danville calling and congratulating me. I mean, that was so important to me, and it meant a lot to me. I remember Jim Worley on the sidelines, I mean, fussing at the officials as principal of the school. He was former head football coach there, and the players that have played for Brookville, they constantly reach out to you and come to practice, often come to practice and watch us practice, and so I think that speaks well of who Brookville is. And you look at the Seminole District, you just walked out of here. Jamar at EC Glass is a great football coach, and he's a Brookville Bee. You know, he wore the maroon and gold too. JT over at Jefferson Forest is a Brookville Bee. You know, there's such connections to Brookville here, and we're proud of that, and we want to. You know, we're working hard to reclaim where we are with it, and last year was my fault at where we were with it, and this year we've worked hard to improve on it. So we'll be there. We'll work hard to be better. We will be a better football team.
Cam, we're going to try to fine-tune this one. Describe your relationship with Logan, the coach, and particularly Logan, the coach at Brookville.
I know the guy pretty well. Yeah. I would say we have a good relationship. Ever since we moved back, it's kind of like, I feel like it's more coach mode when we're at Brookville, but when it's at home, it's dad. And I think that just kind of like builds our relationship even better. It makes me want to work harder for sure, like having my dad there as my coach. And yeah, I feel like the same thing with my brothers. I feel like it boosts all of us. Like, I don't know.
Does he coach you harder than anybody else?
I would say he coaches me equal, but I feel like Dad definitely has a little bit more higher standards than I feel like Coach would. But yeah.
We'll ask it of you now, since you're the quarterback. Does Coach Logan coach Cam harder than anybody else?
No, actually. He actually treats everybody the same. He does pick on some of the skills and whatnot, but he will take them down in practice sometimes, like just messing around. But other than that, I ain't really not.
Lincoln, big leader on this team this year. What are your goals personally?
To have a better season than the last two, just lead a better season and hopefully put everybody on the right path.
Can you tell us just what's been going on with you guys so far, and then we'll have some questions for you.
Yes, sir. Now we're really excited to get our season started. We've had a great first 4 days of practice. There's been a lot of new energy that's kind of come about our program. Our numbers are a little up from years past. And our biggest goal, we're ready to end this losing streak. We're on 37 game skid as a program, and that's our whole motto right now is ending this thing. We're going to get turned around. We're going to get this program back to something that we can be proud of and the town of Bedford can be proud of. And we're excited to show that once Friday nights start.
Obviously, the biggest goal is to win, but how important is it, you talked about it, to get those numbers up? How important is that?
It's everything. We've had 2 seasons, really 2.5 seasons without a JV program. That's a program killer. You know, we've got guys who have missed. A lot of these guys here have not gotten reps. You know, the amount of reps, game reps, are invaluable. So we just need to keep getting those numbers. We look like we're going to have a JV team this year for the first time in years. We just need that experience for these guys. You know, the more experience you have, game reps you have, the better off you can be in the long run.
Has that burden shifted more to you now? Is that something you've been trying to do even before becoming the head coach, is rallying a JV program and getting more of a pipeline going?
It is. As an assistant, you know, you try to help everywhere you can, but now that this has fallen on me solely, it's I've definitely ramped up the effort. I've been on the phone talking to every kid I can get a hold of. I teach freshmen at the school, so I've got a couple connections with some of these younger guys too. I've been working the phones a whole lot more than I have in the past, and it's to some success here. We've got definitely more numbers than we've had in the past, and I think that once our school finds out we're going to have a JV team, I think those numbers will skyrocket after that. I think you got a lot of guys who've been afraid to play, thinking we might not have one, and I think that's all about to change.
If I'm a kid and you're recruiting me to play JV from your school, and I say, hey, I don't know football, I've never played football, what's your response to me?
Hey, it's a great time to learn. JV is a way better time to learn than varsity. You get a couple years experience where everything is not quite as chaotic as a Friday night. Friday night's a beautiful thing. It's crazy out there, but it might not be for the first time guy. You know, JV is a great chance to learn the game. We can break down our fundamentals into small steps and get these guys out there learning the game.
For both players, have you guys taken on an active role in recruiting players as well?
Yes, I myself have talked to I play baseball, so I talked to almost the whole entire JV team, try to get them out, and haven't really been successful on that part, but just keep on trying.
You've got a few.
Well, I've tried, but a lot of my friends, they're not. But I have tried to recruit some people, but it's hard to bring people out when they're, you know, scared to do something new. You know.
Well, not just that, but the results haven't been there for you. How hard is it to get guys to come out when they say, well, hey, you guys don't win as much? What's your response to that?
We need you to win. It's hard to win when you don't have a lot of people, but when y'all come out, it can help us get closer.
Yeah, put it the best way. And I like to talk about the experience. It's real fun. It's football. Everything's enjoyable about it.
Well, from that side, you talk about being a baseball player. Can you tell somebody that, hey, football can improve your baseball skills, whether it may not be, you know, hand-eye coordination, but leadership or this or that? Can you use that?
Oh, yeah, easily. And everything translates over from football to baseball. Every sport does it.
In his opening remarks for the players and coach's opening remarks, he's pretty blunt about the losing streak and trying to tackle that head on. Is that something that you guys have leaned into this offseason, and if so, how?
Yeah, we have been. We've been just really took it as an incentive. As we win this, everybody's going to be proud. Everybody's going to want to come out, hopefully get more. So, been working harder, trying harder, and going real well.
Yeah, working harder to get a win, and if we do get a win, it'll help bring people out more for the coming years. After this one, it'll be more of a thing for people to want to come out and play more because they're playing for a team that's won instead of one that hasn't in a while.
Coach, how much do you bring it up to your guys? I mean, you don't want to harp on it, obviously, but I mean, it's factual.
No, what we really focus on is, and I've said a lot the last couple of days, is great teams do everything great. So we're trying to fix every aspect of our program. We want to stretch great. We want to have a great locker room. We want to have great communication skills. We want to have great assignment knowledge. So we're trying to start from the ground up. And everything, if we can fix all those things, I think the results will show up on the field.
How different do you think that first game's going to be? Because you don't have yourself to turn around and say, what would you do, like, you know, maybe Coach Robertson would have done with you. You don't have that Brad Womack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it's going to be fun. We got a great staff. I've got guys that we can lean on. we've got a great team. We've got great players. I think everything's going to be fine. It's going to be exciting times.
Coach, when you, I don't know how much you look for moral victories right now, but I'm thinking to, 2 years ago when you guys didn't really score but once, I think, and then last year scoring more often. It's got to show these guys that, it's possible to start turning things around. What kind of things have you seen so far out of these guys, and maybe their willingness or their abilities that says, hey, we can really start to turn the corner?
Yes, sir. No, I think the guys all see that. Last year was our first year in this offense, and we had, I wouldn't say success, but we had more success than the prior year, like you said. And this year, I think we're returning anywhere from 9 to 10 starters on offense. So we've got a lot of guys with a lot of playing experience in this system now, and we're going to take the next step forward. Okay. Now, what that looks like will depend on what these Friday nights happen, but we're excited to take that next step. These guys are very comfortable in what we're doing. We're learning a new defensive system at the same time right now, but I think everybody's picking everything up well, and I think these players are excited to come tackle that opportunity.
Tell us the offensive and defensive schemes quickly and how you think they benefit these guys.
Yes, sir. Offensively, I don't even have a great word to describe what we do. It's not traditional. Multiple. We're flexible. We flex in and out of whatever we need to based on the players that we have. I guess somewhat of a spread system, but it fits what our guys do. We try to attack certain areas of the field and take advantage of all the space on the field and do what we can there. Defensively, we're installing a 5-2 and a 4-2-5 at the same time, kind of a hybrid system. These players are right now, it lets them fly around, and that's what they're doing in practice, and I can't wait to see it on Friday.
For the players especially, how much is it that you guys keep what you're doing fun and then don't put so much pressure on wins and losses?
Well, it's important to have fun, but it's also important to have something you want to work towards. So if you want to work towards a win, it's got to be pressured that you want to win, not just about having fun, because you have fun previously, but you lost a lot. So you have to have fun and be ready to do what you have to do to win.
Yeah, basically what he said, no one ever really has fun losing, so it's kind of the mindset you have to have to be great.
Coach, same thing. How much is it that try to keep it as fun as possible and not harp on results?
It is. No, we aim to have fun at practice, and I think that these last 4 practices this season so far have shown that. Our players are, they're running around, they're flying around, but football is a fun sport, and we try to hammer that. If we have fun playing football, wins will come. We're practicing hard. Guys are running all over the place. Guys are learning stuff, and I think everybody's enjoying the way that we've been doing things. And with that joy, I think wins are going to follow that.
If you had to give your kids on the high school level, college level, pro level, whatever it is, who's the role model that you would want them to be like, just in terms of maybe mentality?
Oh, there's so many. That's a hard question. Honestly, everybody who's made it to those levels, all these guys dedicate their entire lives to their craft. These guys fly around. I love watching. You watch any college football game, you don't see guys who are pouting there on the sidelines. You see guys who are enjoying doing what they do, and if you're watching any NFL game, these guys are flying around. They might be making millions of dollars, but they don't take plays off. They fly around all over the place. I think anybody these guys can watch can be great.
Coach, talk about that non-district schedule, how important that is for setting the tone.
Yes, sir. 2 parts. One, our non-district schedule is the first 3 games. So, first 3 games in general can set the tone for you. And it's very obvious to everybody in this area. The Seminole district is a brutal district for football. It's a very tough, hard-nosed district. So it would be great for us and our confidence going into that Seminole schedule if we have some early success in some of these out-of-district games. We play one region opponent in our out-of-district. We play another in-county rival that's out of the district. And then we have a home opener against William Campbell. So, we've got 3 games that all matter to us in different ways, despite being an out-of-district game. If we can find some early success, I think that's going to help us going into the Seminole schedule.
For the players, what's the one thing you've learned in the offseason that you think is going to help make you a better football player, whether it's a football skill or something different?
Well, I've learned that just coming out isn't gonna get you a win. I've come out for 3 years and no win, but you gotta work hard. You gotta really try and work hard to get better.
Yeah, you just gotta work hard. You gotta do stuff that will actually benefit for in game. instead of just trying hard and something don't really matter and just not trying when it does matter.
Thank you guys so much.
Good. Hey, appreciate you guys. Thank y'all.